2023 has been a very, very interesting year for movies in general. We have seen a decline of the huge blockbusters, you could say. Many of the films that were expected to perform well at the box office this year have underperformed, and there have been a few surprises thrown in there. So join me, guys, as I take a look at what I think are the best films of 2023. These are my personal choices. As always, I would love to hear in the comments what your guys' thoughts are on the best films of the year. I'm sure everybody has a different list. So let's take a look together at some of the movies that I have personally enjoyed this year. I think you'll find there's a nice mixture of different films here, and I thank you very much for joining me.
How was that?
You should probably run. I won't let anything harm you ever again.
There are a couple of honourable mentions that I want to talk about, and the first one is Megan, that was released earlier in the year, very early in the year, and this was quite a highly anticipated film. The trailer blew up, it looked really kind of interesting, we all like killer doll sort of thing, and that's exactly what this film is. We have Megan, a doll that has been created to kind of look after and educate a young girl who's lost her parents. And obviously, with this being a horror, turns out to be a sinister, murderous killer doll. It's very well made, but not a lot of surprises in it.
Families throughout history have been chosen to make this decision. Your family must choose to willingly sacrifice one of the three of you to prevent the apocalypse.
Now, the second honourable mention that I want to talk about, and this very nearly made the top 10 list, is M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin. A film with a truly fascinating premise. What would you do in this scenario? A loving family is told that one of them has to willingly sacrifice themselves or the apocalypse is on the way. A really interesting premise of a film with some great performances. I think Dave Bautista's best performance so far, and a really interesting film.
There's a case that needs your attention. Bring me the priest.
Now, coming in at number 10 on my list, and this might be a surprise to some people, I know this is not like the greatest exorcism film that's ever been made, but I really, really enjoyed this film, The Pope's Exorcist. I thought it was propped up by a tremendous performance by Russell Crowe. I thought the exorcism stuff was excellent. I thought it had a fun and exciting conclusion to the film, as well as an interesting premise. I just thought it was, as a big kind of budget kind of exorcist film, it kind of ticked all the boxes, this one. I just found it really, really entertaining.
And give me something to make me believe you. Prove to me you're a demon.
It's probably just a coincidence.
Coming in at number 9 on the list is probably a film that many of you won't have even heard of, and it is a film called Nefarious, a superb horror thriller. It's a very kind of insular character piece and focuses on a psychiatrist that goes to a prison to check the competency of a prisoner that is facing the death sentence, and he's claiming insanity. So he's got to prove that he's sane so that he can undergo his sentence. And when he sits down to have a discussion with this prisoner, the prisoner makes the claim to him that he is not just a demon, he is Satan himself, basically. And he goes through a series of processes with his psychiatrist, to prove that he is in fact a demon. It's really fascinating. It's not one of those all bells and whistles kind of possession type films or anything. It's just a really fantastic character piece with a career best performance by Sean Patrick Flannery, and a film I strongly recommend you guys check out if you get the opportunity.
You haven't seen her since she was 8 years old, and you're going to reconnect with her?
Sorry.
I don't like this. This isn't a good idea.
I'm sorry.
You say you're sorry one more time, I will shove a knife right into you. I swear to God.
What? What's it gonna do? My internal organs are 2 feet in at least.
So coming in at number 8 on the list is The Whale. Now, strictly speaking, this came out in 2022, but in the UK, we got to see this for the first time in January, I believe it was. And what else can you say? I mean, the only reason this isn't higher on the list is because it's not what you would describe as an uplifting watch, really. It's quite a difficult watch at times, but quite simply, one of the best leading man performances you're ever likely to see. So if you really do appreciate acting in its purest form, you need to watch Brendan Fraser in The Whale. A really, really fantastically made and acted film.
You've been on my mind recently. You just keep popping up in my dreams. You don't do anything, you're just there. So, this specific person, the remarkable nobody, I also had that experience. Do you have a picture?
Now, coming in at number 7 on the list is a film I have only just watched, and in actual fact, I haven't even put the review up for this. I have filmed a review, and it is likely to go up. I might put it up today, but it's likely to be in the next day or two. And it's Dream Scenario, the new film from A24 that stars Nicolas Cage as an unremarkable man who turns out to be the man of everybody's dreams. And what I mean by that is, basically everybody on the planet starts dreaming about Nicolas Cage's character in this film for no apparent reason. He tries to steal 15 minutes of fame from it, but it actually turns very, very sinister as these dreams that people are having start turning into nightmares, and it turns his life completely and utterly upside down. A remarkable central performance by Nicolas Cage, as you would expect. But once again, he is proving, I think, to everybody just what a brilliant actor he is and what an incredible range he has. If you get the opportunity to watch Dream Scenario, I strongly recommend it. But if you want to learn more about this film, stay tuned for the review soon.
Where is he? He's disappeared off the face of the earth. He's in France. Bonjour. At 90. Well, he has done it before. Only then, of course, they were shooting at him.
Coming in at number 6 on the list is a truly uplifting, fun and entertaining film called The Great Escaper, which turns out it's not only Michael Caine's final film, as he's announced his retirement after this film, but also Glenda Jackson's, because she sadly passed away not just before the film came out, I believe it was. And both of them give absolutely stellar, outstanding performances here in what is a true story of an elderly gentleman in his 90s that sneaks out of his retirement home, heading off to France to kind of pay his respects on the anniversary of the D-Day landings. It is honestly a wonderful film. It's so watchable. They managed to have some real fun humour in there, but at the same time really captures the magic of the human spirit. Check it out, guys. It's a brilliant film.
We were always searching for a family until we found each other. Are you ready for one last ride?
Now on number 5 on the list, in what has been what you could really only describe as a very forgettable year for Marvel in general, the only shining light really that they've had this year is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A really great addition to the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, a really fun way, an emotional way at times to end the trilogy of the movies. Great action, great chemistry between all the characters, and definitely a bit of a tearjerker occasionally to this one. So, yeah, very unmemorable year for Marvel, but they did manage to churn out certainly one memorable Marvel film, and this is it for sure.
Anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
We're starting to get to the heavy hitters now, and for what I think has been a fantastic year for action movies this year, I thought 2022 was a great year for horror. I think this year it has been a great year for action, and my top 4 3 of them are action films. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, I think, was a superb entry into the Mission Impossible franchise. We all knew it was going to be top quality. The only disappointment here is the fact that it didn't do better at the box office. I think they're kind of swerving it now for the Part 2. They're not going to call it Part 2. They're going to kind of repackage it, if you like, somehow, the movie. So I think they kind of misjudged the box office performance of the film, and I think the problem is, as with many blockbusters, they're just putting too much money into them now. So if they don't make $1 billion, they're a failure. They just need to cut down on the budgets, I think. But what we have here, I think, is a superb entry into the Mission Impossible franchise. Non-stop action, very, very memorable, and I really, really enjoyed it on the big screen.
Got some new neighbors.
Hi.
Edward husband.
I brought you some food.
Okay. Bye.
Are you always this unfriendly?
I am not unfriendly.
Okay, you're not. Every word you say is like a warm cuddle.
Coming in at number 3 on the list is Tom Hanks in A Man Called Otto. Again, this, strictly speaking, is a 2022 film, but it came out in January in the UK. And it's just such a wonderful film. Again, a staggeringly strong performance by Tom Hanks as Otto, the street grump that really connects with some new neighbours who kind of give him a reason to carry on. It's actually quite dark at times, this film, but ultimately the humanity and the emotion that run through it kind of carry it forward to what is a very, very memorable film, and quite heartbreaking at times as well. Strongly recommend it if you haven't seen it. It will definitely be worth your time.
Whatever it is you and your friends do it somewhere else. You warning me? I'm preparing.
Is that a Timex?
No, it's a movie. That's the median nerve that I'm compressing. That's a level 3. If it goes to level 4, you will shit on yourself.
Now, coming in at number 2 is the Equalizer 3. One of my favourite action franchises. I really, really enjoy the Equalizer films. Thoroughly enjoyed the first one. I really enjoyed the second one, and I was hotly anticipating this one. This one was one of my most anticipated films of the year. I really had my fingers crossed that it was going to be really, really good, but who knew? I mean, we still had Anton Fuqua directing, Denzel obviously returning, and in actual fact, it turned out to be really, really good. Definitely better than the second one, and I just found it so entertaining, a lot of fun. The action was brutal, as you would expect, completely on point, and Denzel Washington delivered a final performance here that was, I think, worthy of this character in this franchise. So yeah, that's why it's made it so high on the list. It's one of those times when a highly anticipated film meets your expectations, and this one certainly did for me.
Only one can survive. Failure to meet at sunrise will result in execution. Last words, Winston?
Just have fun out there.
For me, my favourite film of the year is simply John Wick Chapter 4. This may surprise some people. I know there are some out there that didn't particularly enjoy this one. For me personally, I thought it was an absolutely brilliant entry into the franchise. Massively memorable action scenes, totally inventive. I mean, they just keep making action feel original and fresh, and how they managed to do that after four films is just quite mind-blowing to me. Keanu Reeves gives one of the best physical performances I've ever seen, as he has in each of the John Wick films. We've got some memorable characters, staggering fight scenes, and It's just a brilliant entry into the franchise, and I've just really enjoyed 2023 in regards to action films. I've enjoyed many, many films, but all of these films that I've talked about today as my favourite films of the year, there's not one really that is right at the front of that queue and just pushing everybody back. Each of these are memorable in their own way, and there's no outstanding winner here. I've only put John Wick at number one because I had to choose one to go at number one, but I would say all of these top 10 certainly could easily get to that number one spot if I kind of did the list on another day. So, as I said, guys, let me know in the comments section what your thoughts are on my list, and let me know what your list would look like. And I will, of course, be back with loads more content on the channel very, very soon.